Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, today I will show you my presentation about comparison and contrast essay, and then I will show you also my essay of comparison and contrast. So let's get into it. Alright, in the first slide is what is compare and contrast. So comparison is comparing something, means you show the similarities between two things or more. Meanwhile, contrast is it means that you point out the difference in those things. Alright, next, the characteristics of compare and contrast essay. The first point is clearly state what you will compare or contrast. Second is indicate preference of writer for one object over another. Third is explain very briefly how two things are similar or different. And lastly is indicate why these similarities and differences are important. Now we're going into the introductory paragraph that I've made about the compare and contrast essay. This time I will use the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter comparison and contrast. So this is my introductory paragraph. For those who loves fantasy genre books or even movies, they must have known Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. These two movies influenced this genre because of how iconic it is. So many interesting creatures and unique plot lines intrigue people to watch or read them. Despite being two of the most successful fantasy movies, Lord of the Rings have some similarities and differences with Harry Potter that make them so loved. So my topic sentence is for those who loves fantasy genre books or even movies. They must have known Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. The topic is for those who loves fantasy genre books or even movies, and then the controlling idea, they must have known Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. And my thesis statement is despite being two of the most successful fantasy movie, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter have some similarities and differences that make them so loved. Next, we are going into the body paragraph, and I will read it to you. In the movies and also books, there are many similarities that we can point out. Of course, the genre of these two movies are the same, which is fantasy. They both have the evil sorcerer, also both of them are referred as Dark Lord, who wants to regain physical shape. They also have the same wise old mentor with a long grey beard and wizard hat. They also have the similar evil, creepy, hooded creatures. The main characters, Harry and Frodo, they both have inherited an invisibility device. Both of them also have deceased parents. Both of Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter have trolls and elves creature. Even though both of them have a bunch of similarities, but they also have many differences. The most prominent one is Lord of the Rings, was published in 1954, and Harry Potter in 1994. Harry Potter has 7 books and 8 movies. Meanwhile, Lord of the Rings has only 3 books and movies. The plot lines and the stories are also different. The Lord of the Rings world is fast and follow each of the characters' individual story. Meanwhile, Harry Potter mainly follows Harry's story. J.R.R. Tolkien made a whole new world of Lord of the Rings. Meanwhile, J.K. Rowling intertwined the world of Harry Potter and the real world. The themes of the stories are also different. Harry Potter deals with good versus evil theme, death, love, growing up. Also, Rowling adds political oppression, survival, and overcoming every odds. Although Lord of the Rings also deals with the theme of good versus evil, but the story is more traditional. It also deals with the journey of self-discovery, hope, despair, fate, and free will. Next, we're going into the concluding sentence. The concluding paragraph. From the explanations above, now we know what are the differences and similarities between the two. They both have the things that make them so lovable and unique. You'll always find these two movies if you want fantasy discussion because they have the red line for this genre. Next, for the language features for comparison and contrast essay, there are for the comparison is like, both, as well, in common, same, and similar. And the contrast essay or contrast topic is instead, on the other side, meanwhile, although, yet, and whereas. Alright guys, I think that's all that I can explain to you, and I hope that it will be useful for you. And thank you so much for watching and listening to my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.